production value of the conservative sort of, like the Jewish conservative side mind. So I wouldn't put common sense politics completely in the right wing. I would say that, on the left you'd have to look at labour force and looking after the workers. All of these things have to be taken into consideration, which is why personally I tend to be more national socialist rather than just nationalist. This is my own personal view, because I think that, yeah, the homeland does need to be nurtured and cared for, and at the same time the people who are nurturing and caring for it, i.e. the workers, involves everyone. It's like you're duty bound to look after yourself, look after your neighbour, look after your town, your city, and look after your country. Obviously, if everyone's done that, the world would be a better place. So that's just my critique on that little one paragraph there. So I am pro-race. Well, obviously that's a good thing, because, that's the biological makeup of where we are, and has every right to continue as, as buoyed up as, let's say, gay rights. Heterosexuality does breed race, in so much as that's the means to breed race. When it's homosexuality, that doesn't breed any further human beings per se. It's sort of like a one generation blanket, even though it has gone on for generations. It's a very recruiting ideology. But it's part of a political, or has become part of a political construct, but it still breeds no children as an ideology. It's all about fun and, having a liberal sex, which includes paedophilia. So yeah, I think that has to be tuned down a little bit. So pro-race is obviously a good thing. For example, in Africa, they've taken the white people sort of down, and the place is in a mess. So China has had to come in and literally hold the hand of the Africans, and no one's calling for the takedown of the Chinese in Africa and leave Africa for the Africans. In the history of South Africa and German Southwest Africa, the people were all living in harmony until diamonds were found, and that's when the problems began. Well, there's the direct link to the Israeli diamond exchange. The Antwerp Jews, the Jews of Amsterdam, the Jews are all over the precious metals and gemstones. Look at Colombia, people have to live on emerald mountains, just digging through all of the volcanic ash to search for emeralds. That's their life. You can bet cent to a dollar that it's all Jewish land. In fact, the Colombians actually tried to ban Jews going there because of the trouble that they were causing. And then after World War II, they flooded the place. And we know what Colombia's turned into now. So there's an indication of how Jews operate. But you can do that research yourself. So I am pro-race as well as pro-life, unlike Jewish Zionist democracy, which is anti-life, advancing on the back of factional wars, race wars, liberal abortion, in essence, world chaos. Like the liberal abortion, they say, well, what if someone's been raped? They should have the right to abort. Well, what if there was no rape? When people are educated to the level where they don't need to defile another human being in such a way that there's no rape and therefore no need for abortion. Seems fairly reasonable. Jewish Zionist democracy is and has been for decades a destructive force to all races who oppose the ideology. So, if common sense politics is right wing, let's hope common sense accelerates even faster than they are expecting. Close all borders. Racial nationalism is about the preservation of all cultures and not destruction. Well, I guess not much is being said about Vladimir Putin's drive to bring as many Muslims into Moscow as he can, open up Russia's largest mosque, and basically I've spoke to Russians who have been on holiday from Russia, spoke to Russians in Spain, in Italy, and in England, and they've all said that Putin is basically out to kill all of the Russian people, and that he favours the Asiatic, well, the non-whites, let's say. At least he favours them for a political agenda as per the Jewish agenda, and that is the parallel. And I know that Henry Kissinger, the Jew, he's been to see Putin at least 24 times since Putin's been in power. Now that's a lot when you consider who Henry Kissinger is, and even the Rothschilds on their own Rothschild page say that Putin invited them in. So, you've got to forget Putin and all this. So close all borders. Racial nationalism is about the preservation of all cultures, not destruction. This is the job of Jewish Zionist democracy, liberalising and mixing us all into an indistinguishable, toxic modification resulting in no identity or loyalty to any culture. This makes it easier for the Jewish elite to control the masses. The public purse is a cunning way of self-financing our own demise, paying for our downfall. The double-dip technique used at no cost only gain to the ultimate world free trade advocate Shylock. For a nation whose loose world free trade does not mean looking at cross-border trade with other nations, what it would expose is the wrath of the Jewish Zionist banking crime families, putting embargoes on rogue nations who decide to free themselves from the iron grip of Jewish Zionist banking system. Hoodwinked. The March 2013 Cypriot bank collapse. The only people who were content with the Cypriot bailout were individuals who had salvaged remnants of savings, not realising the full potential of a complete collapse would have benefited the whole of the population and could have restarted immediately with a new invigorating protectionist economy without interfering with the established infrastructure on the island, similar to the Gottfried Feder method used by National Socialist Germany in 1933, without the aid of gold or Jewish usury. Indeed, as is with the American mind, labour is the currency. And that was exactly what Germany were putting into action, and exactly why Roosevelt had to haul ass and get America out of the Great Depression and come up with the New Deal, where suddenly labour was the new currency, and then they entered into war with the people who brought the idea of that to shut down the gold, which they shut down in June 8th, 1933. Close all borders. Racial nationalism is inbuilt and progressively organic. One way that you can test whether the gold is there or not is to read what it says on the Federal Reserve note, what we call the American dollar, which isn't the American dollar, it's the Federal Reserve note, and it says on there, the US Treasury, something, is it agrees? Let's see, US dollar, like I put in US dollar, but it's not the US dollar. See, image. The United States of America, $1. Right, let's have a look. maybe it's on the back. Anyway, it says the US Treasury it says it'll take all debts, public and private. Debts, public and private. Yeah, I think it's on. Let's see, dollar bill for all debts, public and private. Sort of, stupid is that? Yeah. What's going on? That bit there. See if I can expand it more. These notes, something Treasury, public. I can nearly read it. 1 second. This note of legal tender for all debts, public and private. There you go. This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. So it's not for gold. It's for debts, public and private. So that's that sorted. So, close-all borders racial nationalism is inbuilt and progressively organic. When a nation's people are under threat, nationalism is their last line of defence as a natural road to follow culture, heritage, history, hope, spirit, patriotism, protectionism, distributism, security.